Welcome to season 2 of Kicks, Cleats, and Athletes. It's your boy, Young EJ. We got our board ops, JD.
Yo, yo.
Oh, we got our man of all things kicks, Jimmy T.
What's up, fellas?
And our West Coast Connect, Patty Kane.
Yo, how are we?
Oh, good to be back, boys. Sports is on the horizon.
Definitely. It's been a while, but it is definitely good to be back. And we got a great show in store for you guys tonight. But before we get into that, how everyone feeling? How everyone living?
The boys are back in town. That's how I'm feeling. That's all I got.
All right. Okay.
Feeling good. Excited. Football's back.
Pat, how you feeling? Because
I'm feeling good. We had our hurricane in San Diego.
Your soul cycle. So
I was gonna soul cycle, but then you guys sprung this on me 45 minutes earlier than I scheduled. We had our hurricane in San Diego last week. It was nothing, and you guys are gonna have your hurricane tonight in Tampa. It's probably gonna be nothing. Knock on wood.
Yeah, don't say things like that.
Don't watch the news.
Because every time somebody says it's gonna be nothing, it's something.
It's nothing. Every time someone says it's gonna be something, it's gonna be nothing, and they always say it's gonna be something.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just glad. I'm glad the Gators got out of town. They got out of Dodge early.
Yeah, they left early. We're staying in Dallas the night early, and then flying over to Utah. So, we're trying to avoid that.
Speaking of the Gators, we definitely got a great show. We will talk about that Gator documentary, Swamp Kings, that's on Netflix. So for anybody that has not watched it, spoiler alert, and definitely going to hit you with some NFL. So we're going to leave you with some football talk today. And, let's get it rolling. So we've all seen the Gators documentary. Great. I thought it was great. I felt like they definitely left out. They definitely left out a lot to make it better. But I thought it was great for what it was. I think for all four of us, I think it hit a little differently because we were there during the time. So there's a lot that's like, man, they forgot this, or where was this, or things like that. But let's just get into it. So since EJ, you're real animated about, how you feel about the documentary. So tell us, what was wrong with it then?
So I just got a couple things. I think for what it was, to give people a glimpse into what that looked like, what that cataclysm of greatness looked like when we were there, like boots on the ground. There was nothing like it. I can't fathom being amongst such like winning and everyone being like, we have to win. That's what we were holding the university accountable, the football team accountable. We just thought that we couldn't be beaten. It was based off of how they built that program. I mean, the fabric of it was completely amongst the team and amongst the university. What I will say was they really made that Tebow and Urban Meyer friendly. It really made it feel like it was their love affair. And I thought that, honestly, one of the biggest catalysts wasn't a part of it, and that was Percy Harvin. Like, I thought he definitely should have been involved in that, because he literally, as great as Tebow was, if Percy Harvin wasn't on that team, it wouldn't have functioned nearly as great as it was. From every fabric of that's my personal opinion. I felt like, I don't know if they couldn't get him, but I was like, that just seems to be the voice that's missing as far as being a part of what made Florida great. Because he'll never get the accolades of like a Reggie Bush, but I think that he was like Reggie Bush to us, like unstoppable as a offensive weapon. And that was really the thing that I was like, they kind of touched on it. I don't know the contracts. If he was just like, I don't want to be a part of it. But that was one thing I was like, man, they missed a big chunk of Percy Harvin being like the guy on that team.
All right.
So real quick, and I'll let Pat give his opinion, and we'll come back to my opinion. But I do want to say that since you brought up Percy Harvin, I was disappointed that he wasn't a part of it. But my favorite part of the documentary was the fact that he was acknowledged by the players that were in it that Percy Harvin was the best player on the team. We all know what Tebow brought, right? But Percy Harvin, 100%. I've said this since the day he stepped on campus. He was the best player on those teams. If he played out of South Carolina, or even the way that USC reused Reggie Bush, he would have put up Reggie Bush type numbers and easily won the Heisman. He was the best player in the country for those 3 years that he was in games. But maybe sophomore, junior, maybe not necessarily his freshman year, but he made such a huge impact his freshman year. I mean, he was unstoppable. So that was my favorite part. At least they acknowledged it. Tebow acknowledged it. I think Brandon Spikes acknowledged it. Urban acknowledged it. So they did say it in that part of it. I wish he was more involved though, with obviously the commentary and the interviews. Go ahead, Pat. Though.
Coach Arvin was electric.
Man.
I've done like a 360 on it. I watched it the first 2 episodes the day it came out, and I finished it the next day. So I watched it pretty quickly. And the nostalgia was real. Like, it was so cool to like relive those moments. Like, I know exactly where I was when Jarvis Moss blocked that kick against South Carolina.
Yeah,
that was
like
yeah. Like
I turned to my son because we went to the Utah game last year and it was really loud.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, listen, as loud as it was last year at that Utah game, that people were hugging people that they never even met before. Like it was insane. It was so loud.
Yeah, so it was cool. Like that part of it, the nostalgia of it was cool. Like a couple times I got the chills. I was like, damn, like I remember this vividly. But then like a lot of Urban Meyer, Tim Tebow, like
it was a love affair of them too.
It was. I don't understand why Tim Tebow was talking so soft. It was like,
I mean, I love Tim Tebow, the greatest college quarterback in the history of college football. But
correct.
Yeah, it was a little too much of like Tim Tebow, the motivator, Urban Meyer, such a sweetheart, which we know that not to be the case. But and I said after I watched that, I was like, they really didn't touch on the off-field stuff, which is obviously a big story of the University of Florida and Urban Meyer as a coach, letting players get away with it. And I thought they could have done more. Like, obviously, Aaron Hernandez was barely mentioned. Of course, all of the stuff that he did was on the Patriots, but he was still in trouble in Gainesville, and they barely talked about it. But
not
now,
all of it.
But now,
not all of it, Pat.
Yeah,
but we'll refrain.
Right.
We'll refrain.
But so that was my
him being with Tim Tebow at that event when Tim Tebow tried to racially motivate. He was like, man, they were saying things to him that should never be said, and he knocked a man out. No, he said he got violent with him. What they didn't tell you was that he knocked the man's eye socket out of
Right. Wasn't it like a bouncer at the swamp or something?
Yeah.
It was, indeed. They left that out.
That guy quit his job after that.
Yeah. But now since then, a week later, reading the comments on the internet and everyone like hating on it and saying like they don't talk about the crime at all and like the Gators suck. I've now done a 180 and I'm behind it. It was a football documentary about the football team, and they won 2 national championships, and they were awesome, and I loved it.
Okay, so
time to be alive.
Really, it was a great time to be alive. And I'll tell you what, the way that EJ just described this and the way that Pat did his 180 is literally how I feel. Because of nostalgia, like the football part of it, like I enjoyed it, and it was cool to be able to watch it with my son because he's basically taken the Gator head and Gator logo and he's all in, right? But he's never seen anything like what we saw when we were there, right? So it was cool to watch it with him. So like that part was great. And I think because we were there, that's why it was great. And then of course we all wanted to see the other stuff that we knew was happening. Right. So like now we're feeling disappointed and empty inside because it could have been so much better. And I know I said this to you guys in our group chat, I was like, it should have been like 10 years later. But I think what Pat is talking about is that it's good that they didn't because it'll damage the reputation of the school, right? Like I don't think they would have allowed that. So I know there's had to be somebody involved, administration, head coach, whatever,
at UF saying like, no,
at UF,
not,
like, hey, listen, we're not gonna sign off on releasing these videos. Like you have to like at least paint us in a good light. And I, as a fan of the school and them trying to rebuild the program, I kind of agree with what it was in the sense of that. And listen, I've seen it. Even you, Pat, you said that a lot of the like the opposing rival fans or all that are like, oh, it was garbage, all this. But I've also seen recruits on Twitter and all over the place like saying how it energized them and like realize, oh, this is what Florida was and all that. So it's gonna help them in recruiting, you know. So like I'm glad they didn't go out and just completely tear down that, even though we know, you know what I mean? Even though we know. So like if it left me feeling like, dang, like this could have been, but it would have had to be like, I don't know, 3-4 seasons of 10 episodes. You know what I mean? Like it would have had to be big to be able to fit all that stuff in there for sure.
What do we know? What do we know? Like we expected like excellence because everybody did on that campus during that time. If you weren't like we're the baddest thing, like going out there walking, that's how we felt. Just as a university, as a place, like we were winning everything. We were winning basketball. We were winning football. We're literally the hottest place to be at any place in America. That's during this golden years era, there was not a place you would rather be than the University.
What they should have done, if they were going to keep it very legit, like kind of elementary and kind of a fluff piece, they should have did the basketball and football together, just the whole time, because people forget football won, then basketball went back to back, and then football won again. So like if you think about it, if you came in 06 and then you left in 09, like you saw 4 national championships the whole time that you were there. Right. And that's basically when we were all there as well. So like it was, I mean, that'd have been a cool documentary to see that.
From April 2006 to April 2007, they won 2 basketball and a football national championship.
4,
like,
right?
No, just from April 2006 to April 2007. In one year, they went basketball April 06, football January 07, April 07, another basketball. Crazy. Like
no. There was 2 years. There was 06 in football, and then back to back in basketball.
That's what he just said. Listen,
is that what you said?
Yeah, you gotta
it was
listen.
Basketball was first, then football, then another basketball. Jesus,
was
Jimmy.
It?
And then and then one year.
I was at every game. Come on.
In 1 year.
No, that was football.
But I'll tell you what, though, if I'm thinking about it from the way Pat just put it, like from a strictly football standpoint, then yes, it was great. It showed the dominance of the Florida Gators. However, because we know what they put in there as well, it could have been more. And to Jimmy's point, he was like, you don't want to tear it down, but no, you tear it down. You show what it was like, because the whole point of it was, this is what it takes to be successful. Like, this is the grind. This is what you got to put in. You see how Brandon Spikes and Brandon Seiler were. Like, this is, if you want to be a champion, this is what you got to go through, and this is what you got to do. So it was just interesting how, they played on that, but they glazed or glossed over a lot of, like you guys said, a lot of the turmoil that happened. They didn't even talk about Cam Newton stealing the laptop. They didn't talk about Cam Newton stepping on EJ's foot.
Yes.
That was the biggest off-field crime there was.
For real.
Stepped on my boy's foot.
EJ trying to get on the Route 20 bus.
When EJ came home that day, it was like an hour-long story about this guy stepping on his foot, like play by play from the moment he sat in the seat till he stood up and got off the bus. It was the funniest thing I ever heard.
Who knew that guy would be a Heisman winner, national champion, NFL MVP, took a team to a Super Bowl?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Should have got
stomped on your foot.
Cast signed.
I'm surprised that wasn't your first foot operation.
Oh, this guy. You see? This is why whenever you get Pat Kane on the live broadcast.
Maybe that's, he loosened it up before your first foot surgery.
You see what?
Is that what happened there? Because that was before the karate incident, wasn't it?
It was. The karate incident came later on.
I will add about the Gator doc. When I was watching it, I remember I was at the 2007 Georgia game when they rushed the field and when they scored the first touchdown.
Yeah.
And they rushed the field. And I was there, and I was watching the doc, and I was pissed that they didn't bring it up. Because I was like, how could they not bring this up in this 8-3 season we had? But then they waited till we played Georgia the next year. Yeah, and I was like, oh, thank God they mentioned that, because that was like
Yeah,
such a
you
big
had
catalyst to beating the hell out of Georgia that next year.
And Urban was so
Yeah.
like offended. Like I've never
Yeah.
seen anything like that before. Shut up, Urban.
Yeah, I also wish they talked about how he kind of screwed us with that whole health thing, and he quit, and then he came back because they were going to fire the staff and hire Bob Stoops, and he didn't want that to happen, so he came back, and they lost 5 games, and then he ultimately quit, and it was a mess. He turned the program into the mess that it is now, and hopefully Napier can get us out of it. Dan Mullen almost did, but
So
Urban too urban friendly.
Urban had the idea of him just being like, I'm running the spread offense and I can pick players that can run this, like speed, these things. He was amazing at. He was phenomenal at. But as him being a leader of men, I did not see that. Like it seemed like he had his support staff was a lot. Like, so I'm looking at the documentary, I see Dan Mullen really giving speeches. I see like Charlie Strong talking to the people. I see Tebow, Brandon Spikes. He's like, I'm leaning on these people. But him, I don't know if he was the leader as far as more so his schematics. I love his schematics, like how he looked at the game. But when it got heavy, he was not prepared to handle that.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit because I don't really think he's a great in-game coach. He was just a great talent acquisition.
That's what I'm saying.
Guy.
So
he went and he recruited. That was his thing, and he surrounded himself with people like Charlie Strong and Dan Mullen, who brought the spread offense. Like that was, you know what I mean? Like he put the talent into the systems, and they went and pushed it forward. And then he was supposed to be the ultimate motivator.
Right. Even like with Ohio State, it's the same. It's like Ryan Day was his OC. Yeah, Ryan Day is an awesome. Like he took him to another national championship. He knows how to put people around.
In-game coach, system wise, schematics, making decisions. Like he wasn't anything special.
We're saying the same thing. Yeah, I wouldn't think that.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think coach, but I definitely think talent evaluator. Yeah, just even how he decided to go and be like, I need to go get Tim Tebow from people yelling at him in a damn airport.
Listen,
they're like, go get this
bogus.
Tim.
He knew who Tim Tebow was. I don't know who this Tim Tebow guy is. Of course you do. He was like rated number 3 quarterback in the entire country. Like,
I'm not gonna hold you. I mean, I know that you're from Jacksonville, and like Nice might be a big school up there in Jacksonville, but from South Florida, don't nobody know Nice. Like nobody's really like thinking of them. Like, oh, they're producing big time talent. I'm just saying.
This wasn't, but you find it. I mean, Derrick Henry went to Yulee.
You're right.
You find talent.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, wherever it is, you find it. So you know who that person was.
Exactly. Especially when he was, ranked and rated so high. Like, you can't say that you had no idea who this guy was.
Yeah. People in the airport were like, hey, you got to go see this guy. Like, oh, really? I'm going to go see him tonight. Like, he was flying into Jacksonville to go see Tim Tebow. Talk about people in the airport were like, oh, yeah, don't go to Jackson this weekend. Go out to Nice.
Are you saying Urban's lying? That
yes.
He's saying
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
I'm looking at the Rivals recruiting, and he was number 22 national player and the number 1 quarterback in the class of 2006. So
I said number 3, so I was wrong. So if he was the number 1 quarterback in the whole nation, and Urban Meyer didn't know who he was before he landed.
He was the number 3 player in the state of Florida.
Okay,
so
maybe that was what
overall. Yeah. Urban Meyer knew who he was.
Yeah.
So Urban's just a notorious liar.
Yes.
Yes. They got. But I'm surprised. The Pouncey twins didn't have anything to say.
Right.
Like they didn't interview Joe Hayden.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people.
there was a good amount of people that they still could
Percy freaking Harvin.
Well, they could have even talked to Chris Leak because I mean he was the catalyst. At the beginning.
Talk to Reggie Nelson, the eraser. Like,
Reggie. There was.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't get more players. I heard Charlie Strong got offered to come on, and he turned it down, and he said absolutely not. He has no interest in it.
And I'll tell you what, when you start hearing things like that, because obviously, as we all could agree, it was a big fluff story in a way.
Yes.
And I feel like they probably, if you would have got some of those other people on there, you probably would have got some stuff that they didn't want aired. Right. Because
I want Janoris Jenkins on that thing.
Let's be real. Let's be real. They let Urban Meyer look like a saint. He was pictured as a saint, like, like he didn't do anything wrong. He cared for these kids and this, that, and the other. That man had them wrestling like a slave mentality at the beginning of that. It was, but no, think about it. If you go back and you think about how, when they would look for the strongest slave, they put them against each other.
Jesus Christ, Jason. I thought this was a football podcast.
It is. But what I'm saying is that was the mentality that he brought.
Never seen that in football before.
Exactly.
Where you can stand on the mat. I was different. I played football. I said, nah, nobody ever could just choke me out like in real time.
Yo, that was wild. This is what you're doing. Like, that whole thing was wild.
Speaking of all the players that we wish had been on there, like Tate Casey making an appearance.
Like, I didn't understand that. Well, because he had the one catch. He had that one catch.
I looked him up on LinkedIn. He's a medical device salesman in Jacksonville.
So
wait, you know who?
I say look him up on LinkedIn.
Who was the O lineman? I don't remember him.
Oh, that was Carl. I can't remember his Robertson. Maybe I can't remember his last name. First name Carl. I've seen him around campus all the time.
Well,
real nice lad.
Some of them look like they hit some hard times though. Look like they hit.
Well, Jarvis Moss, I didn't even recognize him because that was Jarvis Moss at the beginning of the dreads off the side. Who was that?
It wasn't Jarvis Moss. That was That was like dreads? Steven. What's old boy's name? He was our defensive tackle. Like that. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember.
I was like, oh my goodness.
No, that's not. But I was surprised, like Chris Rainey, like they even gave him like a plug.
Small part though, I didn't like it. But I know he came later, but
like, why would they have Chris Rainey and not Percy Harvin? Percy Harvin just must have said no.
Yeah, I'm thinking Jason has a really good point that when you start seeing Tate Casey as the guy talking so much that that people were saying no. I mean, Urban was. What really pissed me off about Urban in this story is that he was doing these interviews while he was in Jacksonville. I should be thankful because they got himself fired. But he literally in the building at the Jaguars facility. Yes, it was in Jacksonville, and it was his house on the river in Jacksonville.
That's amazing.
And he was doing all these interviews while he was the head coach. That's why he got fired. Well, that's not why, but
so
I should be thankful.
Suffice to say, man, we need a redux. We need a Swamp Kings redux with the realness because that was real marshmallow. They gave it like it was just on a bed of cloud.
It was about football. It was a football documentary about a 2-time national champion winning football team. Period.
Right. And we should just accept it as it is.
Hey,
I'm with
like
Jimmy.
I said, with Pat saying it like that. I mean, you gotta respect it. Kind of it fits the mold, the motif of what they did. And again,
we know better.
for we do. And for all the people that were in Gainesville at that time, we all know what was going on, but it definitely was nostalgic and brought back a lot of memories and stuff like that. And just like, oh my gosh, you start thinking about stories.
Jason, you knew what was going on. Were you any less ecstatic about the football team?
Yeah. No, I mean those national championships count.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure, Jason,
and we will accept them as
I'm pretty sure, Jason, we took a basketball class with Torian Charles, and the weekend before he hit a frat boy in the face with a full keg and like broke his face, and he came to class, and we were like, "What the hell?" And we were like, "Go get him, Gators."
Oh man.
Well, they didn't even mention Carlos Dunlap getting a DUI before the national championship. They didn't. Marcus Thomas getting kicked off the team for smoking weed. Like, they didn't mention any of that stuff. So
we didn't talk about it in Gainesville, baby. Go Gators.
Yeah, that's right.
Yo, I want to know how much these attorneys were getting paid that they had on speed dial. Yo, I want to know what they were getting because
that retainer must be nice.
All you need to know is that we kept Aaron Hernandez's hands clean for all the years he was at Florida.
and Bill Belichick couldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's our program.
Okay, so to answer Jason's question, millions of dollars that the lawyers were being paid there.
Yeah, Bill Belichick couldn't even keep Aaron Hernandez's name clean.
Tim Tebow was like, the man of God was like, yeah, I seen him. He assaulted a man, but
you know what's really crazy about that whole situation is the fact that you're telling me that in the time Aaron Hernandez was in Gainesville, not one person tried to like, oh, you need to chill. Not one person. Like everybody just let that man do what he did, and it
I'm
was
sure
what
there
it
was
was.
somebody.
So hold
Come
on.
on
So
now.
That don't mean he's going.
Because they man, come on now.
I'll give you a real true life story, like happened to me real life. So I went to the
This will
barbershop.
be
There's
good.
only like one like kind of culturally appropriate barbershop in Gainesville. It was like in this kind of space. I don't even know how they call it. It was like behind the building. But
I told you
anyway,
this will be good.
I'm in there. Like literally all the football players come to the space. It's not big enough to fit more than 12 to 15 people. But this is where everybody comes to that want the fresh cuts. And the barbers that are in there's two barbers. They know football. They love football. They talk that talk. So I'm in there one day and all the football players are in there. I'm like, yo, I got to get to class. I'm talking to myself. I'm not even talking to anybody. I'm talking to myself. It's like, man, I got to get to class. Like, I'm not going to be able to get this haircut. Like, mad people in front of me. You know what? Aaron Hernandez was sitting next to me. He said, you know what? You can go in front of me. True story. Just randomly just sitting next to me. He allowed me to skip line to get my haircut.
So Aaron Hernandez is he sympathizes with you as a man who talks to himself.
I was just trying to say people can be people. Sometimes.
He heard you going on a little psychopathic
I was
rambling, and he said, "Oh, this guy needs
my,
more help than I do. He can go ahead of me."
I got into class,
Oh
but there's
my
a lot of
gosh.
people. He heard my cry. You see,
Oh
Pat,
my gosh.
how did you make it onto the first episode of this show? You come here with this shenanigans.
Oh man. That's
funny.
that was funny. That was funny. But I'll tell you what though, one thing I guess I forgot was the year that they lost to Alabama in the SEC championship when we were ranked number 2. I forgot how good we were.
No, we
that
were
year.
one. We were one. They were.
We were
they
one.
Were two. No.
No,
You're talking
right. We were 1. They were 2. Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. I mean that
Both
team.
12-0.
Yo, I forgot how good that team was.
They were great, and I guess they were all unhappy as well, which is crazy. You didn't even know that. Like you're so disappointed that the team lost because they were so good all year long, and then they got stomped in the Alabama game, and it's you really. I went into that game knowing we were going to win that game by like 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the insight.
I was in
though.
New York. I was sitting on my couch in Brooklyn, and they intercepted the jump pass, and I was like, "Wow, what the hell?"
But I enjoyed the insight of that one because it was like they were all getting tired of Tebow getting all the recognition. And it's like, yo, what about the rest of us? And they just
I did hear that story about these spikes and Tebow.
And
that,
they
like,
kind of just quit in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Since he is gonna get all the praise and recognition, well, you go out there and try to win this game by yourself. And that's exactly what happened. But I mean, because that would have been what, back to back?
No. Yeah. 3 out of 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would have been back to back.
3 out of 4. Yep.
So I mean,
but
that's
just. Alabama was the reigning national champion, right?
No, we were.
Because that would have been.
No. Wait,
that would have been back to back.
They won the 2007.
No, LSU. LSU won the one in between. Yeah.
Right,
so it was Florida,
yeah.
LSU, Florida, and then Alabama.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good opportunity. They let egos get the best of them, but that's what happens when you're dominating, you know. And it's funny because I was talking to someone the other day, and I was telling him, I was like, we need to get back to that, because if that was like the recipe of success, we need to get back there. Because since then, it's just been mediocre at best.
I mean, think about the personnel. Like, the people we had were phenomenal. Like, legitimately, a bunch of people we had end up having successful pro careers. Like, in the NFL, it's just, we don't really get the talent like we had.
Yeah, but that's my point, though. It's like, how do you go from years of being able to dominate like that to all of a sudden you're mediocre at best.
Urban Meyer, or the answer is Urban Meyer.
He got to go.
Remember how that team disbanded after he left? I mean, there was players getting kicked off the team. Will Muschamp was like cleaning up an awful mess, and Will Muschamp was a great recruiter. He just refused to come to the 21st century with the offense, but he was cleaning up Urban's mess, and he only got 4 years. Oh, he left a mess. He only got 4 years. So then we put a Band-Aid on top of that with McElwain, who couldn't recruit, and then we got Mullen, who we thought was probably going to be that guy, but he's such a great coach, but refused to recruit. So it's a talent acquisition business.
You know what?
You got to get the talent.
It's indeed the Urban Meyer effect. Because think about the turnaround. Like, we hired Urban Meyer and how quickly success followed.
And I do want to add this. I want to ask you guys this, actually. Something that came to my mind when I was watching this documentary is and a lot of fan bases are like this, but Florida has become like, oh, they run everybody out of here. They put so much pressure on them. They can't have a losing season. I feel like Urban created that, of the way like he left with his health and like, oh, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's there. Don't get me wrong. And Alabama fans, LSU fans, Georgia fans are all like this. We're all like this. But I feel like he made it seem like it was much more than it really is.
So
I mean, I think every winning program is like that.
But it's I feel like it's like, oh, Florida's gonna run them out of there. Florida's gonna run them out of there. Like it's
but I think when it comes to especially a good amount of the schools in the SEC, it's win or bust. And if you can't compete with Alabama or Georgia or LSU and now Tennessee, because I mean, Tennessee went through coaches too, you know. And if you can't show that you can compete and win, then your time is up. We need to find someone else that could. And I think that's where the pressure goes. Because if you're at another school like a USF or even Texas Tech or some one of these schools where there's not that much pressure there. Yes, everybody wants to win. The goal is to win a national championship. However, schools know that, okay, we want to compete, but we know we're not going to be that team to beat. Alabama, Georgia, LSU, you know, those schools, Ohio State, now Michigan, like, they have to show that they are going to be in it every single year. And if they don't, it's like, yo, we got to find someone that could do it. And that's where the pressure comes in.
I think there's 20 schools in the country that have the pressure, and Florida is one of them.
Right. Well, I mean, listen, it's a brand, and it creates revenue. You got to win football games to create the revenue. I get it 100%. Just the way that my heart hurts, and you know, it's so much pressure and all that. Like, it's pressure everywhere, but it's not so much more pressure if he would have went to some of the other places. So like, they just made it seem like it was
Nah, but like, Jimmy, think about it though. He came from a smaller school with this expectation of winning at a huge school, and then you're trying to follow in Spurrier's footsteps, who did it. So I think that's where a lot of the pressure came from. Because
he did it.
He did. And then once he did it, it was like, all right, can you do it again? Oh, right. we want you to do it again. And then he was so dominant for, you know, he was here 5 years, right? So 3 out of the 5 years, he was pretty dominant, because the 1 year that Tebow won the Heisman, they weren't the best. And then his last year, where he should have already just left, they were just awful. But he quit too. So I feel like, you know, it got to a point where it was a lot of pressure. And I think it was a lot of pressure for some of these players too, because it's like, we got to constantly win. We got to make sure that we're always on point and winning. And I mean, that should be anywhere. Like, you're on scholarship, you're there to win. You should always want to win. But when you're at a big school, if you don't win, they'll replace you.
Yeah, top 3 college coaches right now in America. It's Nick Saban, it's Kirby Smart, and it's Urban Meyer. Wherever that dude goes, he is an amazing collegiate coach.
How is he a top
he's not even a coach?
He's not even a coach.
I'm just saying, if he wanted to come back, wherever he's going, send your kids. He'll get them to college. That's what I've learned.
Wait,
I don't know about that.
You said send your kids, he'll get them to college. Wouldn't they be going already?
Well, he'll get them to the NFL.
Oh, okay. NFL.
Yeah, he kind of does. look at the sheer number of people he's recruited that's made it to the NFL. But Bill Belichick used to ask Urban Meyer about players. He'd be like, he would pick his brain to draft players. That's a true story. I'm not even.
Oh, you were there?
I can second that. Well, they've reported it a ton. He was at Florida on a regular basis.
I think Urban Meyer's a great. I think Urban Meyer's a great winner in college, but I don't think he produces pros like Nick Saban does. I'll save my trivia question that I compiled while we're on the phone.
Are you forgetting Ohio State
picks of the Gators? Yeah. So who do you have at Ohio State? Ezekiel Elliott and who else from Ohio State has made an impact in the NFL?
What?
The Bosa brothers.
Bosa are pretty impactful. But I can name receivers. I can name
Name a receiver. Name a receiver.
Terry McLaurin.
Mediocre.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
All right.
I will say this to EJ's comment though. I what school is gonna want that circus? And and is the jig up now where people aren't gonna want to work for him? After the way that he treated his staff in Jacksonville, after all the stuff that's come out after that about how he treated his players and his staff, are they gonna want to go work for him?
I think he could get. Sorry, EJ. I think he can get a young, offensive, hotshot coordinator that will be happy to work for him and let him recruit, and he'll be able to recruit and be like, look, I've won national championships in 2 places. I've coached 4 schools, and I've took 4 schools. I've improved 4 schools. Go ahead, EJ.
So one of those top 20 schools that you're talking about, Pat, or somebody that's on a lower tier that's desperate to sell tickets.
Did you not just hear what Pat just said?
I heard everything he said.
The man took Utah to the national championship.
No, he didn't.
He took him to a Rose Bowl.
Okay. Let's go that year. Okay, there's some. Anyways, I'm not.
You're right. He did coach Alex Smith to the number 1 pick.
Thank you. But they also said that they won the national championship that year. They said that they tied with the beat. I'm not gonna get into.
Are you allowing?
Yeah, it sounds like EJ says
national
Utah is a
championships.
national
Are you a UCF fan now?
He took Utah to those heights, right? Can we admit that?
Yeah.
No, he changed the program, and the coach that followed him up is still there.
He's a great recruiter.
Whittingham.
He doesn't
He comes to Florida and he wins national championships, and then he goes to Ohio State and he wins national championships. Why? If I am a college program that want to win national championships, I see this man has gone to 3 different places, 2.5. Let's call it a solid 2.5, and won national championships. Why would I not bring this man back? If I was the University of Miami, I would be like, Bart Cristobal, you got to go. Bring freaking Urban Meyer down here. Watch what he does to the University of Miami.
I think the era has caught up to how his coaching style and how he did it. We were talking about, Jason was describing it, the things that you've never seen before, how crazy it is. He can't do that today.
You don't think Nick Saban's still crazy?
He's crazy, but he's following the rules. I mean, well, maybe, I don't know. But, I don't know if he's got them on mats choking each other out, though. Do you think that's happening in Alabama?
You know what they got going on in Alabama?
Well,
what they got going on in Tuscaloosa?
Maybe they'll make a documentary about Nick Saban one day.
Nah, he never allowed that. Nick will never allow that.
What I heard, does Urban Meyer have the worst NFL coaching record ever at 2-11? Didn't even finish the season.
Oh God,
it's bad. It's bad.
I'm thankful.
I'm not gonna hold you. You know when I knew it was bad, and I wanted to believe into it. When he went back to that Tebow bag, he said he's gonna bring some magic and bring it. And I wanted to believe it, but I said this is not Gainesville no more. You can't bring Tebow back to fix this.
Man, but he was bringing him back as a tight end.
Well, he was just he wanted him on the field.
He
It was
didn't
going
even make the team.
to tight end. He was going to end up at quarterback. It was just a trajectory.
That was just a mess. But anywho, let's move on from there, and we'll stick with the football, but we'll jump into NFL because we're about a week out before opening kickoff, a week and maybe a couple days. So let's just give our predictions for each division. Kind of who we think's gonna win the division, and kind of go from there. So, which division? We'll start since all but
You know what,
one.
Jason? If I may interrupt,
Go
we
for
might
it.
as well start with the AFC East because we know
That's
who
where
I'm gonna pick.
That's where I
We
was
know
gonna
who
go.
you two are gonna pick. So why don't we just hear Jimmy's pick and we'll move on?
Wait, no. Because EJ, as much as a homer EJ is for his Heat, he is like the complete opposite for the Dolphins. So let's hear EJ's take first. Who's winning the AFC East, EJ?
Why you had to do me like this?
It's a funny dynamic that you have between your NBA team and your NFL team, because he can never do no wrong, but the Dolphins are always wrong in your eyes. So I just want to hear what you got to think about.
Two we have on the Heat, we do not have on the Miami Dolphins, and it starts from the head down. I don't trust Tua. I have not trusted this man from the start. And people are like, man, you just should root for your team blindly. I'm not one of those people.
That was a pretty good pun. You said you don't trust him from the head down. That was good.
Oh my goodness! See, Pat, I didn't even. That's just. I'm gonna put that to the side. That's too much. Anyways, I hope Tua Tagovailoa stays healthy. I hope he stays healthy. Do I believe he's going to stay healthy? I don't. Which means that my Dolphins' chances are in the sewers. We'll have great games until they hit him the wrong way. And we're done. So, with all that being said, Josh Allen is durable. The man can stand the test of time. He's going to win the AFC East. Now, I think that Aaron Rodgers probably is going to make the wild card in that division. So, you know where that leaves me and my boys? In a real tough situation.
Real quick, since we're still on EJ. EJ, would you change your mind if they acquire Jonathan Taylor?
Yes. I would.
Dolphins win the division if they get JT?
Yes, because I think that our coach would run that run game so differently. He'd be like, because he's a Kyle Shanahan prodigy. He uses the weapons he has. So he was like, man, I got those boys from San Francisco, but we don't have the O-line that San Francisco has. So it don't really run the same way. So he wants to get those boys on one-on-one options, but he comes from a run game-oriented system. So I think if we got a Jonathan Taylor, I think you would see our offense look a lot different.
They said today that they're not trading him. They didn't get any good offers, so they're not trading him.
Well, then never mind. Scratch what I said from the record.
It could still happen, but they're leaving him on. They're leaving him on the.
But
he's
on the roster and he's on the pup. He's on the pup list.
Yeah, so he wouldn't be able to play until week 5. So it's interesting.
Yeah, we have no running.
You ain't a true Dolphin fan.
Oh boy!
How? Name the running backs we have, Jason.
We got
EJ's a realist. He's not. What do you mean a true Dolphin fan? He's a realist.
We got
he's an idiot, but he's a realist.
Raheem Morstead. And who else do we have?
When are you drafting him, Jason? What round are you drafting Raheem Morstead at?
You asked me who the running back was. I'm giving you who the running back was. That's all I'm giving you, the running back. You know what? Anywho, so we know Pat going with the Jets. So anything you want to add about your Jets?
I mean, top 5 defense. They gave up 17 points a game last year. They added Aaron Rodgers. They have the offensive rookie of the year. They added Dalvin Cook. Their offensive line stinks. But, I think they figure it out. I think they win the division. I think they win like 11 or 12 games. But I'm not sold on the Bills either.
Bills, Pat?
I'm definitely not sold on the Bills.
I think the Bills, how they limped into – I know everyone's saying Josh Allen hurt his elbow against the Jets last year and he was never the same since. I don't know, man. They have Josh Allen or bust. The Jets have an awesome defense. The Bills don't. I think it'll be close. I think the Bills are going to be
Von
very
Miller
good.
back, and they're getting their safeties back this year too.
I think the Bills.
Hold on, you forget that Stephon Diggs is on this team?
Okay.
that dude's a monster. What are you
All right.
talking?
Look,
Yeah.
I feel like the division is going to be
Tyreek Hill's
they're
a
gonna
monster. He
beat
was on the
themselves
Dolphins
up.
last year. They barely made the playoffs. What?
Well, we don't have Josh Allen. Give us Josh
Hey,
Allen.
first of all,
Yeah, let's have Josh Allen.
we made the playoffs with a bunch of backup quarterbacks.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the Jets are going to be good. I think the Jets and the Bills are going to compete for the division.
Okay.
I think the Bills' offense is going to be good. I think their defense is not going to be that good. I think the Jets' defense is going to be very good. And I think Aaron Rodgers, although old, will be better than Zach Wilson. So I think, the Jets they were 7-9, or what were they, 7-10 or 8-9 last year? I forget. But Aaron Rodgers has got to be good for 4 more wins than Zach Wilson, and they win 11 or 12 games, and, we see what happens.
Interesting. I think the division, they beat themselves up. I think it's just going to be that close. I think division records are going to be pretty close, but it's all going to come down to who has the best overall record. Is what I feel is going to happen with that division. Because I think it's going to be. I think they're a lot of them are going to split. The Patriots are probably going to be the one team that might get 1 or 2 wins out of that division. I'm talking about division games. I don't mean like their entire division games. And I think between the Dolphins, Bills, and Jets, they'll probably end up splitting. Like one wins at home, the other wins away, or whatever the case may be. And then the overall record of whoever has the best overall is going to win that division. So, if Tua stays healthy, it's the Dolphins. You okay? You having a heart attack?
If you're asking me, I'm laughing at EJ because his facial expressions were throwing me. So I'm sorry.
Because you told me I was down on my squad. But you have not said one thing that made me feel like the Miami Dolphins are winning this division.
Well, I just said that. I just said if Tua stays healthy, the Dolphins are winning the division. If Tua stays healthy. Because the Dolphins didn't do a great job trying to get a backup. They took, the Jets' backup quarterback?
Mike White? No, Mike White's the man, baby.
Yeah, okay. So, it's not like they shored up that. So, until they could figure out that situation, it's a toss-up, As long as Tua could stay healthy, we'll be good.
I will add, if Tua – the Dolphins had, the best offense in the league with Tua.
They did.
If Tua can play 17 games, I think the Dolphins are going to be really, really good. But I don't think Tua can play 17 games.
The man is. I'm sorry.
He's practicing his jiu-jitsu. EJ, you should teach him karate. You know karate.
It don't work. I'm not. There's nothing about when the man told me he was doing jiu-jitsu to help him take hits. I just
when he told you, he called you.
No, he said it in real life. He said this helps.
He said it.
More hits. Like if that's how far you're thinking, like football is football. If you get hit, you get hit. Like it's a part of it. Sometimes those hits are not meant for normal bodies. Like this is a thing. Like he might not be built for this, and I think so. Like he came after Ryan Clark, and I'm glad Ryan Clark didn't back down because I wish that Tua would be the guy for us. But we got damaged goods. We had damaged goods from the start, and no one wanted to listen to me. And now we're dealt this dirty hand. This man he's put together with duct tape and spit.
That's my God.
That's put together with. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to be disrespectful. But it's just that's what he is. It's
he'd appreciate it if you kept his name out of his mouth.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
He would.
All right, Jimmy. Who you going with?
Hold on. Week one. Tua is gonna be going against Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. Them boys are gonna be getting after him.
That should be a fun week 1 matchup. Chargers.
So funny enough, I was actually thinking about going to that game.
It's in Miami?
No, it's in LA.
All right, come on, Jason. I'll meet you there.
No, I was gonna be able to get tickets for it for free.
Can you get me tickets? I'll go.
I mean, I could.
I'll go with you.
I could. I can ask.
Oh. He made it seem like he could get him, but somebody's getting him for him.
Sounds like you already had him in pocket.
I mean,
that sounds about right, Pat. He was like, "Oh, yeah, all right, I'm already going without y'all." So
I got some plans set up.
Nah, I'm just saying, like, it would have been could go if you want to go.
Let's go.
Anywho, so Jimmy, who you rolling with in AFC East?
Yeah, I'm.
All right, good
I think
talk.
it'll be.
Let's move on to the NFC West.
I think it'll be a 3-team race.
Like here's some triggers. Like all three, you like to trigger me with things. Like
Wait,
we
you
ain't
didn't even say anything yet. What are you triggered about?
This AFC East talk. We could have saved this for the end. You know, I like my Dolphins. They mean something.
We got to keep the exciting nature of the show flowing. So I figured I'd get you all juiced up. I think it'll be a 3-team race if Tua stays healthy. But I don't understand this. I don't know about the Bills talk. I'm rolling with the Bills. They're getting both their safeties back. Von Miller is gonna be back after week 5. They're gonna have a pass rush. They're gonna be better in the secondary. I think they're gonna be better on the defensive side than people think they are. And I don't know if Josh Allen's gonna throw 12 red zone interceptions again. So I'm rocking with them. I think it'll be close. I think it'll come down to the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season. It'll come down to who wins those last few games. I don't know if I haven't got a chance to look at the schedule. I don't know if it's division games or not, but I think it'll come down to the very end between those 3.
Okay, fair enough. We'll leave it there.
I think we should have just traded for Trey Lance. Miami. We should probably did that. If they were just giving them up for like a 7th round pick, we should probably do that.
The Cowboys gave a 4th. Nobody was giving that, so you would have got outbid anyway.
Golly. All right. I guess we could probably skip the AFC West unless someone feels a team other than Kansas City is going to win the AFC West.
Chiefs.
Yeah, so figure we could skip. All right.
EJ probably likes the Raiders or something. He's a Jimmy G guy.
Jimmy G guy.
No, he's a Brock Purdy guy.
I am a Brock Purdy.
Cooper Rush. Yep.
What team is Cooper Rush on this year?
Man, he's still the backup quarterback for Dallas.
I
don't know why.
So Trey Lance is a third?
What about Trey Lance?
Trey Lance is there now.
I'm telling you that they made the man number 3. They paid this man their number 2 backup.
Yo, I just saw that the Patriots cut both their backup quarterbacks. So all they have is Mac Jones right now on the roster as quarterback.
Yo, Bill Belichick.
Zappy
on that.
hour?
Yeah.
They love Zappy in New England.
They cut him.
Boston.
But anywho, so let's move into the
What does that even mean?
AFC North.
Man, that's a tough division.
Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Baltimore, Cincinnati.
I think this is the most competitive division in the NFL. We'll see.
Over
Deshaun Watson,
the AFC East?
Yeah. These are 4 teams that can make the playoffs. As opposed to the AFC East, I don't think the Patriots can make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I like all 4 of those teams more than I like New England.
Like
so
Kenny Pickett is gonna be good. Defense is gonna be good. Najee Harris and George Pickens, like that team is gonna be good. And then the Browns, like Deshaun Watson was a top 5 quarterback 3 years ago before he started getting massages. So like, can he get back to that? Probably. But they have a great defense. They have Nick Chubb. The Ravens, Lamar got paid. Odell, Zay Flowers, the rookie receiver, they're going to be good. And then the former Super Bowl playing AFC champion contender Joe Burrow and the Bengals, like this division is stacked. And my pick is, I guess I'm not 2 years running. I'll go with the Bengals, but I don't know, man. It could be anybody.
Okay. We'll go Jimmy T. What you got?
Yeah, I'm actually really worried about Joe Burrow and this calf injury. As someone who has torn his Achilles, it started with the calf.
Yo, I was about to be like,
I don't think he's ready for the beginning of the season. And I think that puts them behind the 8 ball. And surprise here, I want to go with the better quarterback after that and Lamar, but Pittsburgh's defense is going to be healthy this year. And if they can run the ball and just clock manage, they're going to be really good on defense. I'm going with Pittsburgh.
Interesting. All right.
Going with Pittsburgh.
EJ.
Wow.
We don't care.
He took the argument right from me. I was going to say, I remember they said KD had this calf injury. It was like, oh, it's just a calf. The man came back, torn Achilles, because that's what it always was. For him to be out this long and them to be like, oh, it's a calf strain, it gives me real Achilles vibes.
Yeah, but let's be real though. There's no way that this long in the game that they could just hide an Achilles injury, because I mean that's out for the season.
You don't have to report it. It's not there yet. You know what I mean? Like it starts in the calf, and if you rush it back, it's such a quick injury. Quick injury to happen. Do you remember? And just what he's talking about with KD? They showed it happen, like it snapped from his calf.
No. I'm not arguing that point. The only point of what EJ said that I'm kind of like going against him with is he's like, well, look how long he's been out. Well, yeah, but I think if it was a Achilles tear and they already knew, it would have come out already, because there's no way that they're gonna just hide a significant injury like that for up until week 1, and all of a sudden, Joe Burrow is out.
Not gonna.
For the season.
That's not gonna happen.
So
but in preseason, well, for one, preseason you don't have to report injuries, but two, like I don't think they. I know it's not an Achilles yet, but we're not doctors. I'm just telling you my personal experience. They know that it can lead to that. So if he's not feeling 100 in the calf, they're not going to put him on the field. And first of all, and secondly, he hasn't even signed his contract yet. I don't think he takes the field until he gets his extension.
But we
still have 2 weeks.
But he's under contract.
But do you think he takes the field without his extension?
I mean, he's under contract, so does it matter, really? He's under contract.
That's why he didn't play again.
Look, if he doesn't sign it and he plays and gets hurt, Cincinnati's still going to pay him. Cincinnati's they haven't had a quarterback in a long time, so they're still going to pay him regardless. But we'll go from there. I'm actually going to go with Baltimore. If Lamar could stay healthy, I think the Ravens will win the division. They have a solid defense like usual. I think with Odell, if he could stay healthy, and Zay Flowers on the other side, I feel they have some good weapons. I mean, Baltimore's biggest issue has been injuries. Every year they lose all their running backs, and they lose Lamar Jackson for an extended amount of time. So I think if they could stay healthy, they win the division.
Table's got to turn on that, right? Like, I mean, they've had such bad luck with injuries.
I
feel like if they have and they're a winning record every year, right? They're in the playoffs every year. So if they can stay healthy,
right, top 5 coach, right? It's Belichick,
I agree with
Harbaugh,
that. Yeah.
Tomlin.
Yeah. Shanahan.
Andy Reid.
And the Jets coach. I can't think of his name.
Definitely not.
You mean the guy from 300? What is his? Xerxes.
Mo
Salah. Yeah.
Top 5 coach.
My pick was
pick the Browns, EJ.
You didn't pick yet?
No, my pick was Paul. No, I did.
Pick the Browns.
You were just so long-winded.
Dang it.
Yeah, it's Baltimore.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up the AFC, and we'll do the NFC next week. I guess the worst division in the AFC. So we'll move into the AFC South.
Well, taking a shot at Jimmy already.
I'm saying, is it not the worst division in the AFC?
I suppose.
We're talking about Jacksonville, Tennessee, Houston, and Indianapolis. Is it not the worst division?
I think you both might be right. Shots were taken, but he's also accurate in that assessment.
Exactly.
Right? So 2 things can be true. Yeah.
Right. So you know what? To be fair, we'll let Jimmy. You could start us off with the AFC South.
Jags. Move. I don't disagree. It's the worst conference in the AFC.
Prognosticate.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. It still doesn't. And when you win a division, you got to play first place teams as your alternate schedule. So you got to play people like the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Ravens and all those on those players. So and the 49ers. So they have the AFC South that they got to play, but they also have some juggernauts on their schedule. So AFC's loaded. Get an easy shot in the division. I'll take it. I don't care. Jags win the division.
I mean, I feel like we're all probably going to go with the Jags with this one. But so I'm going to kind of switch it up a little bit. Is there going to be a surprise team in that division? Like
In the
team
South?
in the South, the team that you're like, damn, I wasn't expecting them to actually be pretty good.
I mean, the Titans have speaking of top 5 coaches, the Titans have a phenomenal coach.
Mike Vrabel
Mike
does
Vrabel?
more with
Yeah.
less every year. I'm a big, even though he coaches the rival, I'm a huge fan of his. So the Titans they'll be 9-8,
I was gonna
10-7. Like they'll be there. He's like the next.
Weren't they the one seed like 2 years ago?
Yeah. So I mean, but they're gonna be there. So, but that's not a surprise, I don't think, right? Like I don't think anybody's surprised by that.
But didn't they just draft the quarterback too? So they
drafted Will Levis.
They had Malik Willis the year before they drafted, and then they just drafted
He's
Will
a bum.
Levis.
Will Levis,
and they're still gonna start. And they're still gonna start Tannehill.
And they got D-Hop.
Well, thank you. That's the thing. That's the difference. They have freaking.
Yeah, but they don't really have a quarterback to throw to him.
I mean, Ryan Tannehill is not terrible. He's like
he's the first quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
I don't think that you're gonna get what you think you're gonna get with D-Hop that you had with AJ Brown though for that offense, right? It was play action. AJ Brown beats you deep. D-Hop is gonna be a guy who makes contested catches over the middle. He's an amazing route runner, but he's not gonna burn you. He's not gonna run by you like AJ Brown did. So the offense is going to look very different. They're going to be more methodical than it's going to be Derrick Henry, play action, big shot to A.J. Brown. Now it's going to be more 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is going to be their game plan regardless. But I don't know if D-Hop brings that offense back. And I'm a big fan of D-Hop. I'm just saying they're different types of players that you have to utilize differently. But I still think, like I said, 9-8, 10-7, they're going to be in the hunt of the wild card for sure.
A.J. Brown.
You mean, to win the division.
No, they're not winning the division.
A.J. Brown's probably a top 5 receiver in the league. So, like,
wrong.
Yeah,
wrong.
Yeah. A.J. Brown. Yeah, A.J. Brown's like that.
We have to put that on next week's show. We'll have to go our top 10 receivers.
Name 5 receivers better than A.J. Brown.
What did I just say, EJ? We're gonna do it on the next show.
You're right, but that's not even what I really wanted to. So D-Hop is still a top 10 receiver.
Yeah, it'll be fun to do this list. I don't know if
look at his catch, look legitimately the percentages of the catches that he drops opposed to any other receiver in the league. It's bar none. It's DeAndre Hopkins. You hit him in the hands, he's catching.
So let me ask you this, CJ: are you drafting him? Is 10? Since we're all in the same fantasy league. It's 10 teams. Is he going to be one of your receivers? So if
Hopkins,
yeah,
everyone must.
You just said that Ryan Tannehill was the worst quarterback in the league, but you're gonna.
I said he was average. That's what I said. I didn't say he was the worst. I said he was average.
Okay.
That's what I said. Okay. So he's middle of the pack.
He's definitely not the worst. He's definitely not the worst quarterback in the league. So.
That's what I said. He's middle of the pack. Like he's serviceable.
He's been he's been a key cog on a playoff team every year that they've been there, with the exception of last year. So
is what I'm saying wrong? Is he not average? Is he not?
No, he's absolutely an average. We all just said it a minute ago. It's Mike Vrabel, what he's done with less, and of course, and King Henry, exactly what I was just gonna say. So,
Well, we'll
do you want me to name receivers that are listed as better than DeAndre Hopkins in ESPN fantasy?
Hold on, Pat. See, now you're telling me the list. I'm asking you. If you name the people, you'd be like, he's a better receiver than Hopkins.
DeAndre, he's not even going to end up being one of the top 10 receivers taken in fantasy drafts.
Justin Jefferson.
Of course.
Jamar Chase.
Yes.
Cooper Kupp.
We'll see.
Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
Davante Adams.
Yes.
Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
CeeDee Lamb.
We'll see.
AJ Brown.
Yes.
DK Metcalf.
Ooh.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Garrett Wilson.
I don't know about that one. I don't know about the only reason I say that because you got Tyler Lockett on the other side. You got to remember DeAndre Hopkins. Who's literally getting the balls? Like I can't even name their second receiver.
On the Titans.
They drafted a guy.
They got a guy.
Treylon Burks.
Treylon Burks. Yeah,
Treylon Burks,
baby.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
They got a guy.
Treylon Burks. Like, I'm just saying, this dude's about to get enough. He's gonna get his fair share of catches. And if I know D Hop, like I know D Hop, he goes and gets balls. Like,
you go and get balls.
I knew you were about to come with that.
He couldn't help himself.
It
It was like a weird pause.
Yeah.
And Pat couldn't help it.
That's something else is gonna happen.
That's funny.
The Jags are the best team in the division, but the Colts, I don't know. The Colts, don't sleep on the Colts. The Colts are going to have like a rookie quarterback situation, unlike normal rookie quarterbacks, where they have a pretty good defense and they have a pretty good offensive line. And Anthony Richardson is hopefully going to be asked to just manage the offense and run it and not get into too much trouble. And, like, who knows? I don't think the Colts are going to win the division. I don't think the Colts are going to make the playoffs, but I think the Colts could be like 7-10, and like be frisky and play good games.
Colts not winning more than 4 or 5 games.
It's about to be. It's not gonna look good for that team. I mean, they just don't. So I was trying to look at it. I was like, man, hopefully he has like a Cam Newton type rookie year. But what I remember they had on that team, they had like a Greg Olsen on that team, like a veteran, and they had Steve Smith. You know what I mean? They had like people that like knew how to play NFL football. Like on the Colts, Taylor's in, like Flux. Michael Pittman's their best receiver on the team. I don't really know what offensive weapons they have that really this dude's gonna be able to have out there. I mean, he has a good offensive line, but
and I'll tell you this, I think the Jonathan Taylor thing puts it. You might have been if he plays. Hopefully, he comes back after week 5. Well, hopefully not because he's in the division, but. If he was there, I think you could see what Pat is trying to say here because the offensive line is good, but it's a good rushing attack type of offensive line. They actually were not very good against and pass protection last year at all. So that's what I worry about for Anthony is that when it's time to run, it's going to be there, but the teams are going to load the box on him, especially without Jonathan Taylor there. You know what I mean? And they're going to be keying on him instead of Jonathan Taylor. And I have a hard time seeing it. So I think I agree with EJ and Jason. They're probably going to win somewhere in the 4 or 5 game range. They took away his best weapon, his running mate, and I just don't. If I'm thinking about the defensive coordinator and how they're looking to attack them, they're going to make them beat him through the air, and hopefully, like I really wish for his individual success. I hope his team goes 0-16 every year, but his individual success, I hope he's really good. I hope he's really good, and I start putting some better pieces around him. But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a rough first year for him for sure.
Well, we'll see. So, like I said, we'll tackle the NFC side of things next week. But let's just jump into our. Do we want to go kicks of the week, or we want to do trivia first? What are we trying to do?
Go with trivia.
All right, we go with trivia.
I have a trivia question. Do you have a good trivia question, Jason?
so
Yeah, I got
questions today.
There's no limit to trivia on this show.
Yeah, there's no limit.
Let me allow me, Jason. I think this will be fun.
All right, go for it.
Let's do it.
Since we were talking about the Gator doc, can you name? There's been 6 top 10 picks from the University of Florida since the 2008 season. Can you name any of the 6? It just so happens that 3 of them were drafted by the Jaguars.
Oh, I already know him. Reggie Nelson, Darnell Harvey. Is it Darnell Harvey?
Top 10.
Reggie Nelson wasn't top 10?
No, he was like 20.
No?
Yeah.
It's your boy Harvey.
Well, you already know. Fred Taylor.
What's his name? Derek Harvey?
Yeah, Derek Harvey.
Yeah,
Derek Harvey.
2008.
Okay.
Freddie T.
Well, since
2008. Oh, since 2008. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you said overall. Okay, so since 2008.
Right.
Dang, there's been 3?
There's been 6 Gators
was it
drafted in the
Percy?
top 10.
No,
3 of them
Percy
to
was
the
in the
Jags.
20s, I think.
No. It's for
Harvey. So I know it was Harvey.
So Derek Harvey was 2008 defensive end to the Jags.
Didn't Aaron Hernandez get picked? No,
not in the top 10.
He was mid.
Oh, you said all okay.
Top 10 since. I mean, there's been 1 in the last 3 seasons. We just talked about one of them.
Well, Anthony Richardson is one of them.
There you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So he snuck that in there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I'm thinking, I'm
AR.
thinking back 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even thinking a couple months ago.
I mean,
Jarvis Moss won the teens.
Jarvis Moss was a teen. There's 2 Jags on there in 2015 and 2020. A defensive end and a cornerback.
2020.
Yeah,
I know-
cornerback.
Oh, C.J. Henderson.
C.J.
Henderson went number 9.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
You said
What-
defensive end?
Defensive
Yes.
end.
Oh, what is his name? I know exactly what he's talking about too.
And
'Cause he
I'm
did-
pretty sure
Oh,
he
Dante
went-
Fowler. Dante
Yeah,
Fowler.
Dante
Yeah,
Fowler.
number 3
Dante
overall.
Fowler.
Yeah, Dante Fowler.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pitts,
All right, these next 2.
Pitts,
I'm not going to give any clues. You should know these next 2.
Pitts.
So Pitts.
Pitts.
Yep.
Pitts. Yep. Good.
That's a good one.
Pitts.
That's a good one.
And then the last one is our boy, 2010,
Joe Hayden.
2010.
Joe Hayden.
Yeah. Wait, where did Hargraves go?
11.
He went-
11.
Oh, I was gonna say I knew he was
Yeah,
close. Okay.
11. 11.
That's a great trivia question.
11.
man.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
All right, I got one. It's an easier one. So, who did Florida? Since again we're talking about the doc, when Tebow gave that speech, who they lose to?
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Hey, all
You
right.
just watched the doc, Jason.
We just
I'm
watched the
just
documentary,
saying.
but that's not
Just
something
saying.
that's not something that any Gator fan should
I
forget.
will be self-deprecating for a second. I thought before the doc, I thought it was Arkansas. I was like, oh, they lose to Arkansas at home, and then they started the Ole Miss game, and I was like, oh no, it's Ole Miss.
Yeah, it's always Auburn though.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Always Auburn.
Yeah, if you asked me that question before last week, Jason, I would have said Arkansas.
Okay.
Ha,
All right.
that's good. No, I remember it being that one I remembered.
All right. I got one more.
All right.
Who was the defensive coordinator for the '96 championship team?
Bob Stoops.
Okay, look at quick to the draw. That man EJ's still in the blocks. He ain't even getting out.
EJ wasn't even born yet.
I dropped my lips. As soon as you said 96, Jimmy was like, Stoops. Bang.
Oh man.
EJ, trivia question for you: who won the 2023 NBA Finals?
Oh, that's insane. That's so disrespectful. Like, why would you even? That's unnecessary, Pat. Your team wasn't even divided.
Question for you: Who
Your
did
team
who
wasn't
did
even
the Milwaukee Bucks lose to in the first round?
Just about to say that. You weren't even invited.
I think I'm disconnected. I can't hear anything. Did I get disconnected?
That's funny.
You sent Giannis back home.
Oh man,
He didn't want to stay in the States. He said, I had to leave this place.
man
I
didn't
deserve
even
that.
didn't,
You're
didn't even
right.
want to play for Greece. All right, Jimmy T, what you
Thanasis
got?
is hooping for Greece, though.
Yo, I heard he made a little statue of Jimmy Butler out in Greece. Heard that's what Giannis did. It's like they never seen anything like it.
Rightfully so. Jimmy buckets.
All right, Jimmy T, what you got for kicks of the week?
I'm gonna try to
You
share my screen here.
Trying to get extra with us? Okay.
Yeah, here we go.
Well-
So I want to make sure that we give the credit where it's due. This is from Sneaker News website. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Sneaker News, shout out to them. This is where we get all the fresh intel. All right. But this is Supreme and Nike Dunks collaboration. Comes out August 31st.
Okay.
Those are
Actually
cool.
kind of fly.
What's the
Yep.
price point on those things?
These bad boys they're I don't know if they haven't listed yet. Expensive.
Expensive.
140.
Oh, that ain't
But
bad.
like they're gonna
140.
be gone though.
Oh yeah. No, they won't last more than 20 minutes for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are crazy.
Yeah, those are cool.
I feel like that would have matched like your tux, man. Like you'd have had that joint.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Vegas.
a little nod to the
Like,
wedding in Vegas.
right?
Yeah,
Had them
right.
joints on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you remember what my tux looked like, EJ. Thank you.
10-year anniversary. There you go, right there. Rock them bad boys.
Boy.
That
I remember.
man-
I
that man-
remember
See if you
man
still
EJ
fit into the suit.
That man EJ still looking for his wallet.
Wait, did it end up being in his pocket or something?
Nah,
You
but
know,
he gave it to the waitress.
Oh yeah, she was just walking around with it. That was
What is
interesting.
this? What is this? Did you
Yeah,
guys?
guys. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Everyone knows that.
Thank you.
I treat my dog EJ like this.
That's true. Sorry,
I just-
sorry.
when he was
I got Jason got me excited about it. I'm sorry.
But
What you need?
you can't bring things up that happened in Vegas like EJ getting kicked out of the marquee club like that, or like when he fell asleep at the pool. When he fell asleep at the pool and they almost brought an ambulance for him. You can't bring things up like this.
Don't look at any of this.
Yeah, guys, you're not supposed to mention Vegas, like those two embarrassing moments EJ had at my wedding.
Hey, EJ's the one that brought it up.
I don't think the world heard anything you guys said.
Well, as always, another great show, another great episode. Got to thank our boy Pat for coming through tonight as our
Yes,
guest.
Thanks, boys.
To kick off season 2. Well, we've been listening to Kicks, Cleats, and Athletes. We out.
Go Gators.
Oh, yes, sir.
Go Gators.